Hello everyone, it's Shel from Paper Octio Studio. Today I have some more drawings for you. I made these in the Inktober challenge, October 2017. Inktober is a challenge where you draw every day and ink your drawings, and it's for practicing your drawing and your inking so that you get better. The more you practice, the more you get better. Day 23's prompt, which I'm using the prompts from 31 Witches 2, which is from Ochi Brochi. There's lots of prompts out there. The idea of the prompts is to give you a starting point so that you have something to jump off and do your drawing. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to draw exactly what is the prompt. It just gives you an idea. So the prompt was Artist Witch, and I think this prompt is the reason that I picked this set of prompts. I wanted to do it, but then once it got to doing it, I had a lot of struggle with this drawing. I started in there and then I erased the entire thing at some point and started over, and another time I erased a portion of it and started over. I'm practicing doing bodies in different positions, and it's not that easy. It's not as easy as you would think. I'm having trouble with the hat there. I had to redraw the hat several times. Redraw the body because she wasn't leaning forward far enough. Really just struggled with it. Also, I really was kind of struggling with my concept. I wanted to show how artists affect the world. And if you were an artist witch, how would you affect the world? And, you know, for me, I'm all about color. I think that color expresses your emotion. I think that color can have an effect on mood. I definitely think that bright color makes you happy. And so I wanted my little witch to be spreading happiness by spreading bright color into the world. So I made her riding a paintbrush. Her broom is a paintbrush, and then also her wand is a paintbrush, so that she can spread her magic colors. And then I have colors coming out of the brush, and I decided it needed to have somewhere to go, all this color, so I drew kind of a little medieval style village, city. I guess it would be a city. I didn't want a modern city because I didn't think it goes with the idea of a witch. That's kind of the concept is, I don't know, it just seems to me like a modern city wasn't the right choice. And I also think that these little conical roofs are cute. So they almost look like mushrooms. I think they're cute. So I made it that type of a city instead of a modern city. And it starts out with the tall buildings and then kind of goes down to small buildings and then into the woods eventually. So the inking, not that fancy. I think I might have used a single nib through the entire thing. I wasn't trying to do varied line weights or dynamic inking. I was just going over the lines. Because it had so much detail, I didn't think that was necessary. Speaking of detail, this is a super detailed drawing, and so is the second one in this video. So that's the reason that there's only two, because they took so long with all their details that I couldn't fit 3 into this video. It's always a weird concept to, you know, I'm doing Inktober for myself. I want to practice, right? I'm not doing it for any other reason than I have things to practice in drawing and I want to be able to draw better. But then you weigh that with, I know I'm going to be making a video. So if I go too crazy and make it too long, will it fit in the video? That's always something that YouTube artistic creators like me have to think about. We shouldn't have to think about that. I should just be messing with it, not like worrying about what the video is going to come out like. But I know I'm going to have to edit, and editing is yucky. Yucky. So to colorize this, I'm using my Spectrum Noir alcohol markers and my chart. Got to get out the chart. I'm trying to use 3 colors for each section of colors. So I got 3 yellows, 3 oranges, 3 reds, and so on and so forth. And I'm coloring my you know, colors that are coming out, the rainbow of colors that are coming out of her brush wand, and then I'm also bringing those same colors down into the city so that it looks as if those colors are raining down over the city and making everyone happy and making their place all nice and bright. Why do I think it should be like that? Well, I live in a baked potato neighborhood, people. All the houses are brown on the outside and white on the inside. We have an association, and that's the way they want it. You cannot color your house purple if you want to. You could only use the approved colors from the association. off my soapbox now, but yeah, that just really drives me crazy. Baked potato neighborhood. So, of course, we got to bring in the purple. What I was not thinking about was that I was also planning on coloring the witch in bright colors and should have been doing it. I was getting out 3 markers that, a light, medium, and a dark in each color, and then putting them away and getting out different ones because they're all on this big marker sorter thing, and I don't want to get them all mixed up. Yeah. So I ended up having to get some of them back out to finish my coloring, so that took longer. But purple hair, of course. Of course. I mean, really? What other color would it be? She's got bare feet also because I don't wear shoes unless I absolutely have to. So this is where I realized, oh yes, I wanted to give her a striped sweater to match the magic coming out of the wand. And also I remembered that I wanted to make her brush broom have bright colors on it as well as if it was dripping color magic from her broom. So that was when I realized I should have kept some of the markers out so that I wouldn't have to go find them again. Silly markers. Just more marker problems, I think you've heard enough about me complaining about these markers and how hard they are for me to find what I want. So I get back out all the colors again, just the mid-tone, and color a very bright stripy sweater, and the broom, the brush on it has the bright colors on it as well. And then I move on to her, I guess these are like, I think maybe they're called painter pants because they have that pocket on the side of the leg with the loop and all the pockets, and they're probably overalls. I'm going to say painter pants because I think that's a thing. Although I'm not sure why. I just think it's a thing. Of course, then I had to get out the 3 colors to do her skin. And I went for a little bit darker palette this time. Not so pale. Colorful witch. She might be a witch of color. Not sure. Really wasn't thinking about that till I just thought about it just now. Then instead of making your hat gray, black, I made it gray because it looks black anyway if it's gray. Then to fill in the sky, I did not want to get more markers out, so I decided to just use this set of watercolors that's on the table already from the previous something that I did. I don't even know. So I decided that would be a lot quicker to fill in the sky. I wasn't sure if I wanted night or day, but I finally did decide it was night because she would be doing this at night, going and spreading her magic at night. And I did end up doing a bunch of sparkles in white Posca pen, which didn't make it on the video. So that's day 23, Artist Witch. Isn't she colorful and sparkly and fun? Yeah. So day 24, the prompt was Steampunk. And Steampunk, the idea of it is it's combining kind of a Victorian style aesthetic with complicated clothing and hoop skirts and corsets and top hats and things like that that you would see in the Victorian era, with the idea that a steam technology came along and they have created all these mechanical gadgets that run on steam. and they're using them for all sorts of things. And that's kind of the idea or concept behind the whole trend, which is huge. There's steampunk festivals, and people dress steampunk when they go to Comic-Con and stuff. Some people do. It's a thing, and it's fun. And so I wanted to only do a half body portrait because I knew I was going to be having to do a lot of details, little tiny details. So I didn't want it to be so small and then have even these details be smaller. So I'm having her standing there, and she's holding her steampunk mechanical familiar, which is an owl. I see a lot of these cute birds done in a steampunk style. I see the drawings and I think they're cool. So I wanted to make an owl. I end up giving her two familiars. She ends up with a mechanical raven as well to balance the drawing, but that's further on in the scheme of things. I wanted to make her a steam-powered combined with magic-powered broom because I thought that would be cool. But I didn't want her riding it because then I would have to draw a full body. So it's just kind of leaning against the wall behind her, which I guess I haven't drawn it yet, but you will see it. It'll be there. And she has these goggles that she uses to determine, they have all different types of lenses, and she looks through them to determine what type of magic she might need. Is it earth magic? Is it fire magic? She probably uses a lot of fire magic in order to make steam combined with water. So fire and water, she probably uses those more than earth and air, but probably all kinds of combinations in her broom in order to make that thing fly. And I draw a lot of gears on it and doohickeys and gewgaws and doodads and things like that all over everything, basically, which is why this drawing took so long, because of all the detail. Lots and lots of detail. So I'd be interested in knowing if you guys are into steampunk, if you've ever made yourself a project that's steampunk or an outfit that's steampunk, or if you've attended a festival. I like to watch Mike Deacon's vlogs on his art channel whenever he and his partner go to the steampunk festival, because his partner is an artist also. He makes mechanical sculptures that are really in the steampunk style, and so I always like to see their crazy adventures. I'll never be able to go to those festivals because I don't live in England. So yeah, a lot of fun. So I'm just continuing to draw all this crazy detail into my drawing. And I think at some point I do start inking. Oh, here we go. Yes, I wanted a dark, definite outline around the outside of my drawing, and then going in with the finer details in a smaller line. And so I'm using my brush nib from these markers to do the outer edges of everything, and then I'll go back in for more detail with other markers. These are Faber-Castell Artist Pit Pens. It comes in a set, and it has a lot of different nib sizes, so I started with the big and then I go down to the smaller to make the illustration more dynamic. I like to do that. These are the best pens. If you want to get some for yourself, I'll put the link in the description box below to Amazon where you can purchase them. So I finally did get down to extra small eventually because she has a clock charm on her choker. She's got clocks on her wristbands. She's wearing a bracer, which has all kinds of little gears and gadgets on it. Not sure what its function is, but it's cool looking. And then, of course, all the details of the feathers and the different things on her mechanical familiars. So, yeah. And her face, of course, needed the extra small for her face. So, again, a lot more detail. Lots of detail in the inking. So, for colorization, I'm going to end up using my Inktense pencils. And those are a set, but it doesn't include some colors that I need, as you'll see. So I end up using a few other things. The other thing I'm going to use is my Sharpie water-based metallic markers. These are not stinky oil-based ones. I'm very sensitive to stinky things. I don't like them. So these markers are the fine tip water-based ones, and there's a silver, gold, and copper. And they came as a set. I ordered them from Amazon as well, and I couldn't find them. I couldn't find any water-based markers when I was looking, but this was a while ago, so they might have them now. But Michael's just had the stinky oil-based ones, and I didn't want those. Ugh. So I have silver, gold, and copper, and I'm using it for all the metal work that's in this drawing. There's lots of stuff that's metal, and they're so fine-tipped that they're easy to color in the little teeny tiny spaces and spots that I need to. Then, of course, using a water-based pencil is kind of like doing a watercolor, only you can get it in a lot finer areas. It's not so fluid and messy. These Inktober pencils are water soluble, but then once they're dry, once they've air dried or been heat dried, they're permanent. So they're really great for mixed media, and I prefer them over regular watercolor pencils because I can go back over the top and not mess it up, For her white blouse, I put in some gray because white is never really gray. It needs shades and shadows. I don't know if it needs 50 shades of gray, but definitely some gray. I sometimes also use light blue for that because it was supposed to be a white blouse. I think I put in a little bit too much gray though because it's looking a bit dingy. But then once I put a dark background on, it brightens back up again. Okay, so I'm not sure where I was. I keep getting interrupted, and so I'm doing this voiceover in parts, and it's like I don't know what I did say and what I didn't say at this point. I'm so confused. Looks like I'm coloring with the tiny markers again, the tiny point markers, putting some silver, gold, and bronze into her crazy steampunk style broom. And then this is where I bring in the dark background because I wanted the drawing to stand out, and it was looking all kind of flat in one color, not anything really like, standing out from it. So I used the black Inktober pencil to do the background, and I tried to make the darkest points right around the drawing and then let it fade out to the edges. Of course, this is mixed media paper. It's very absorbent, and so it keeps sucking up the color before I can blend it very much, which is irritating me. But at this point, I'm like, I need to be done with this drawing. It's taking way too long, so I didn't fuss with it that much. I think then I decide that it's still not standing out enough, so I add some bright white highlights with the Posca pen, and then also I intensify her skin tone and her hair with some brighter color, which comes from a watercolor set that's sitting next to me, which is those Japanese watercolors, which I'll also link below, but I can't remember the name of it right now. But that does brighten it up some and make her stand out from the background. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on that notification bell if you actually want notifications. That's it for me. Thanks. Bye-bye.